I'm live in my third video with Kristin. The other two are, you have to look in the playlist. Well, we'll create a Kristin playlist for you. And today we're going to be talking about FI in the ISFP, the MBTI ISFP, aka E.S.I, aka FISX as I call it, or FISI or FISE. And one of the things I would like to mention, so that I don't forget about it, is that Dario said that INFPs and ISFPs are the best listeners, but he said that ISFPs only really listen when
you're breaking up. Say that sentence.
Oh no! Oh no! I'll say
we
yeah.
only ISFPs
They only listen when they're intrigued.
Ah.
When there's a bit of mystery, but he says that INFPs listen all the while.
Ah, okay, so they're better than us.
Well, no.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Totally. Yeah.
So do you generally find that though? Sometimes like you're a very good listener, and then sometimes you just like zone out.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I'll still be listening to what they're talking about, but I won't really like, I won't really act like I'm listening or anything, or really show that I care. It's just kind of like there. But yeah, everyone, like a lot of people tell me I'm a good listener. So, yeah.
That's good.
That's probably one of my favorite compliments to get, because it's like, it feels good because you feel like you're being noticed. So.
Yeah, that's cool. We sort of mentioned these things earlier on with the FI. I've got the I will say MBTI describes FI as staying true to yourself, and we sort of went over these little bits before, but in the other hangout that we just did on how important is that to you, staying true to yourself, your own thoughts, your own convictions?
I think it's very important. I try to do that as often as possible, and when I can't do that, I get pretty frustrated with things or people or situations. So yeah. And people who don't support me in kind of doing what I want to do or staying true to myself, it's kind of frustrating. I'm kind of like stubborn in that way. Like, I don't want to change because I have a certain conviction one way or the other.
Right. I'm just trying to improve my sound. Right. I will now try something. What's this EXE thing? I'm wondering what's using up the computing power now. So I will look at a graphic for Model G. I think it would just be along here. Aha, Model G explanation. Right, so that is on the way. That is opening, I think. There it comes. So yeah, so this one's an easy one in terms of understanding the model, because it's basically the management function is just the same as the lead function in MBTI. That's it, like the dominant function. And it is the idea that it is what sets the goals for the whole psyche. So it's like FI is the most important thing to you. So staying true to yourself, being your own person is the most important thing to you. And then of secondary importance are, I'd say, like SI things and SE things. So it depends how we define. Right now, what I can do is show them. Bear with us with any technical difficulties. Right, I'm now going to share the screen. Can you see that?
Yep.
Right. Right. So we got the idea here is that it's right. Okay. Right. And is that readable to you? The text. Right. Okay. So we're looking at the blue box management. We've got here. So, like I said, your whole goals are it's your lead function. You have maximum energy for it for FI, and it's also and it also says here the lion's share. And it almost like sometimes people can overindulge in their lead function. So it's usually when people criticize other types. Like, so a feeling type might say to an INTP, "Oh, you're in your head too much. You're doing too much thinking." And so it's almost like, or they might say to an SP, "Oh, you're doing too much SP stuff there."
Yeah.
Or, like, so people can lead function.
They're what?
Their lead overindulge their lead function.
Oh, okay.
To the exclusion of other functions.
Okay, so other people are noticing that in you.
Yeah, I think that well, they notice not so much in me, but in people who are like too extreme in their lead function too much. People can notice it about them.
Okay.
Where it's like, you know, ISFPs and INFPs that are too much about their own feelings.
Okay.
Or you could say about extroverted feelers that are too much about other people's feelings and not putting themselves first enough. Or maybe someone who's too much with the extroverted logic. It's like you can see that they're almost one-dimensional. They need to work on their other functions to become more rounded human beings. So so this is sort of saying that there's a tendency for this lead function to take more than its lion's share. And Victor thinks this lead function is directed outwards. So it's like it's the thing you notice most about the person, even if they're an introvert. So for instance, when you meet an ISFP or an INFP, the thing you might notice first about them are their values, things like that, rather than I mean, so for instance, when we were talking to you in the Hangout before, it's like I suppose it depends on the mode, whether you notice, where people might notice your FI first or your SE first. And it goes, so it's like, well, if you're talking to someone, it's not, whereas in other situations, presence or other things to do with SE. I don't know if you've noticed like differences between maybe yourself and ESFPs. Do you see like a difference in like body language, the way they carry themselves, things like that?
I mean, I don't know, because like I said, I was still unsure if I was either an ESFP or an ISFP, but like if I like compared myself to like Jeff or somebody that I know that in real life is just like Jeff, like they're just a lot more like jolly, a lot more happy, have a lot more energy like coming out of them, I feel like. Whereas I feel like what?
Yeah, that makes sense. And also what you have, and this will be a slight digression, folks, but you know, you're going to have to go with it, because I'm going to have to show people the difference between ISFP and ESFP, and that because Kristin brought it up there about the jolliness. Now, I will be slightly rude, Kristin.
Uh-huh.
Not about you. Right. Who does that look like?
Is that, I don't know. Is that Jeff?
Okay. How dare you? I mean, he thinks he does nothing like that. But hopefully everybody's not watching this video. Hi. So I'll go to the ESFP. Yeah. Oh, here it goes. That's the one. I'm going to try and get to the model G.
Okay.
Because it's the actually the Kersey profile of the ESFP, and it actually speaks to the.
Okay.
Here it is.
You're still you're still breaking up in the sound, but I'm just rolling with it. So.
Okay. How about now?
You're good. Yeah.
No, it was because I was changing images. So this is from the Kersey profile of the ESFP.
Okay.
And it's sort of overlaid in the format of Model G. So for instance, this top left square would be E.S.I, and this green square. Now, which function do you think these words sound like? These phrases here in the green box.
In the green box.
In the green box, yeah.
Is that, I don't know, FE?
Yeah, it sounds like FE, doesn't it? So that's what I mean about, because they use FE creatively. So it's like a strong unconscious function. And that's sort of like where the jolliness is coming from in the ESFP. So this is the Model G. So I'll now show you the Model G of the ESFP. It'll take a while for it to switch. But it will come up. I have clicked on it at the bottom because it's highlighted in blue. Now what I'll do is I'll zoom in to show you why I would actually call the ESFP SEFX, because they do use a lot of FE, but for their own reasons. Not in itself, but like for them to be the center of attention. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Right, so they're using FE as an so for him to like say yes, okay, I use it, but I don't value it. Things, but it's not like for its own sake the way an ESFJ uses FE for its own sake. Like, you know, in order to please people, in order to please people, whereas an ESFP will please people in order to give them the attention because they love the attention.
That makes sense. I can see that in real life too.
Yeah. So as you see there, number one, knows how to get into the spotlight to produce the desired emotional effect.
Yeah. And
so whereas with so that's why if like anyone's watching this who knows about the quadras, that's why quadras can be a little bit silly sometimes. They say that ESFP is a serious type. No, they're not. They're quite merry and jolly, because even though that quadra, the gamma quadra, they supposedly don't value FE. Well, not value it, but they use a lot of it. They're very jolly, and the same with the ENFP as well. Because what they'll say is they'll come up with a thing like, oh, FI people are serious and FE people are jolly.
Yeah.
That's what they'll say. But you see, there's certain types where, like ESFP and ENFP are very strong at FE, but they don't value it. So they can be jolly, and it's just like say ESTJ is another one. They usually say types that value SE more assertive and aggressive than types that don't.
Okay.
But ESTJ They don't value SE, but they have very strong unconscious SE, so they can be aggressive. The ESTJ.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So that's why quadras can be a little bit iffy. So now I'll go back to the a little bit on the diagram. So the lead function, people have a lot of energy. It's the main thing of people. I'm now getting back into my own rhythm because I've not done one of these Model Gs in a while. Is that the explanation? I think that's the explanation. Now, there's now the original version of the explanation.
I see your picture of that one guy, that ESFP guy.
Oh, yes, yeah, EJOND. I did that to sort of like rub it in to sort of like say, Jay, your hairline is going to be like mine pretty soon, because mine was like this at a similar age.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, I think so. Yes, yes. Because if you want to know, actually his Facebook is still open because he keeps his Facebook, so you can see some of these posts on his Facebook.
Nice.
Right. So which do you prefer, Kristin? This hand-drawn explanation, or the graphic done by to make it slightly fancier?
Which one do I prefer? Is that, what?
Yeah, I mean, you probably prefer the computer graphic.
Oh yeah, this one's easier to look at, but you know, whatever one you want.
Yeah, but it sort of shows like how it involves many people. These things, these hangouts. Like, so for instance, I started off with this, and then I cut bits out, and so I got this by reading a translation that Victor gave to me. And I looked at the Google Translate. I was able to write things at the top about my understanding of Model G was like what the various blocks do, like in the sort of like the quarters, what the energy is, externalities, internalities, and I'd like read little bits here from little bits of information he sent me, and then I did a hand-drawn one where I, again, some other information from Victor and Dario. And then with Scott Carrick's help, he's a helpful INTJ. Who'd have thunk it? Verbally INTJ 3 and Wing 2. And so again, help out is the key to success. He's been able to network with people. And so here we go. So this is the lead functioning. Right, okay, externalities. I'll say a little bit about externalities, internalities. Directed outward. Oh, what's that tapping? I don't think it's you.
Oh, that is me. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Usually when people tap, it's like people tapping on the keyboard. It didn't quite sound like, was it like a tap against the table or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm playing imaginary drums, I guess.
Right. Pardon?
What?
Your sound cut out a little bit. What did you say?
Oh, I just said I'm playing imaginary drums, I guess.
Okay. Right. Right. So we've got externalities. So can you read? Right. Can you read that?
Yep.
I mean, I don't mean out loud, but then you could maybe ask me some questions about that. Like if any bits aren't clear to you.
I mean, I don't know if I have questions. It's just interesting.
because the idea here, so for instance, the idea is that in ISFP, that the FI will suppress the SE. So it's almost like most of the time you have your wild side under control, compared to an ESFP, who they might be a bit more impulsive. Do you think that's generally true to say that an ESFP is more impulsive than an ISFP?
I don't know. I feel like I haven't had much experience with them, but yeah, I guess I would say that. Yeah. I don't think I'm that impulsive in most situations.
Yeah, but probably maybe because what's putting a brake on it is thinking, oh, that's not the right thing. Right.
Yeah.
And feel about it.
Yeah.
And so that might actions.
Yeah, you broke up, but yeah, definitely putting the right thing to do first, or thinking about it, yeah, first.
Right. So what we'll do now is I'll say, and then, like I said with the block, like when it was Jeff, when it was the ESFP, in block 1 it would be SE, and then in block 2 it would be FE. So the idea there is that ESFP uses FE to be the center of attention, because their like social mission is to be the performer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just like as Kersey called them, the performer.
Yeah.
You know, they've got to use people skills in order to be the performer. It's like to be the center of attention.
Okay.
Now with ISFP, Victor has it as FI and SI. So I suppose that would be like, say, maybe your social mission is what you like to do with the church. Like you've talked about helping people. Maybe you could see those two functions working together, FI and SI.
Yeah.
You know, like when you're being actively kind. So do you want to tell us about the sort of things that you do with your church in terms of like helping people?
Like, I guess it's like more of like, I really like the sermons and everything that are more teaching and kind of share like what to do in life and stuff. And then kind of applying that and like doing different things. So like the church that I was involved with, you know, they did stuff like kids days and like family things and Christmas holidays of like giving gifts and stuff. And not that I always do those things, but I like them. I'm like really attracted to them. But you know, I serve like in like the there's like a coffee station. I serve in the coffee station, or like there's like a youth group that I kind of go to every once in a while and do outings. But I mean, I'm not like super involved, but I like how much different opportunities they have there. So I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, I'm attracted to what they're doing.
Right. And then I'll show you a little bit of the little blocks in there about, and I'll get to the diagram. I've got a little, let's have a look. I usually have like a little hangout plan for these Model G hangouts. It's sort of like the order in which I will go through the information. Right.
Cool.
And then, so that sets the goal. Okay, so charges. Right, okay, so if I'll go back to this and then just show people right. So we go back to the
You're frozen.
yeah, it's a little bit of the freezing happening there. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Is the blue square visible?
Yes.
All right. So yeah, it's the overall goal. There's this thing that it's paired with the manipulative. So for you, FI is going to be working with E. So, and I'll talk a bit about that in a moment. The FI with the TE. Yeah, and basically management just means dominant, like the dominant function in MBTI.
Okay.
Equivalent of the test phase in the TOTE model. I can show. Well, I'll just briefly show the TOTE model, which is just a model of how people solve a problem. TOTE model. It's a little bit NT-ish. It's just a little bit NT-ish, but I'll put it on there briefly. The TOTE model.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's right. Where we go? TOTE. Where is it? There it is. Just a little bit NT-ish. There we go. So the inside of the mind is a flow diagram. That's the TOTE model.
This is great. I like this.
Oh, cool. So it's the idea that you have like goals and methods of testing whether you've achieved the goal, and then if you've not got it, then you go back and you try again. And so like Victor saw like the stages in this and thought, well, there's some similar stages in Model G. There's like these like 4 stages of like trying to identify the problem, think of a solution, execute the solution, see if it works. Oh, does this fit? No. Oh, then I'll try something else. So that sort of thing, and until you get to the desired state. Now, this is the sort of thing that makes Jeff's eyes roll.
Right.
He's not so much interested in the TOTE model.
That makes sense.
Yes, because he's interested in. He's good with the feelings of people.
Okay.
And observations. Now, let's go back to.
I have a friend who's I think an INTJ, and that's like how he explains life. It reminds me of
with flow diagrams.
Well, like what you just showed me, it's kind of like whenever I go to him with like an issue that I'm dealing with, it's like he basically says that like what you showed me.
Oh wow! So does he like get a little whiteboard out and sort of go?
Sometimes.
Like, so Kristin, this is where you're going wrong.
He does it more like imagine this, like a diagram. It's like I see it going there, you know. Yeah, but he does that.
All right. So while you're at it, I can ask you about the duality theory of that SFPs go well with NTJs. Do you get on okay with NTJs?
I think me and my INTJ friends are good friends. I mean, I think we get along well. Yeah, but like, you know, I think since I'm ISFP and he's INTJ, we just kind of get to a stopping point because we're both more introverted, so we don't really like, you know, we're both like content. Like, I don't know, I don't really, but yeah, no, he's cool. I love what he says.
Better. Object.
Huh?
I just held this up to the camera to make it focus on it, and then it focuses back on me because it wasn't quite in focus before. It's a little trick I learnt.
That works.
Right. So now we can talk about. I'll just go back to there. I'll click on your square. If you show that again, let's see what's written on that mug. Is it let's have a look. What's it say on the mug?
It says, "Be still and know that I am God."
Oh, what's it say underneath that?
Psalm 46:10.
Ah.
Yeah.
In fact, I will. If you just hold it there again, I could use that as the thumbnail for the video. You just hold that up a little bit, and hold it there. Yep, I'll find the video at that point, and I'll use that as if you have a little smile now, then I can use that as the thumbnail. Yeah,
Great.
I'll use that as the thumbnail. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, spread the word. Right. You can spread the word, and I'll spread the word about Model G.
Love it. Oh, that's awesome.
The word. All right.
The word. It is the word.
And
There we go.
so now I'm gonna go. Right. Right. So we've done the test phase. You get that? That's cool. So then we've got Dario Nardi saying that there are functions like parts of the brain that are more active. Like, so for instance, there's a part of the brain that has to do with like personal value. That part of the brain does light up in those types that are FPs, and especially ISFPs and INFPs. So I'll just put a little bit here. Dario Nardi, high EEG activity in regions correlated with the Jungian function in this position. Now, usually when it's the judging functions, it does that. When it's the perceiving functions, it's sort of like different because the brain goes into sort of different modes. There isn't a sort of like an SE area or an NE area. It goes into like different whole states. So for instance, when someone's in an NI mode, their brain sort of like goes into like a trance type state. Or like when it's NE, it's like I'll just show people what happens with the NE state. Right. So now, according to Dario, with your SPs, there's not much going on. In terms of it's like a tennis player that's bouncing on his toes, waiting for the ball. And so it's like they're in a state of readiness, waiting for something exciting. And so I wonder, if you ever get into a state like that where you're just bored out of your mind, waiting for something to happen?
That's so true. I mean, that's hits the mark. Because, yeah, that's constantly how I am. It's like there's not really much going on, and then all of a sudden there is something going on. Or like, yeah, I feel like my body is constantly prepared to do something, like to like move or to catch something or to like, you know, whatever, to fall off or like anything really. I almost have like this jerk like syndrome that like it's like ready to move, but nothing's happening.
These people haven't seen other videos with you in. You could like tell the audience a bit that like you were like a proper sporty person, really in tune with your body, that you did gymnastics, and and so Dario would call that being like really in the moment. Yeah. Like, so when you're doing when you were doing gymnastics, were you like completely in the zone, not thinking about anything else? Oh yeah. Totally in the moment.
Oh yeah, it was so good. It was like I would just be on autopilot for like 4 hours, just like doing gymnastics, just moving. It like didn't matter like what else was going on, and doing my routines and just kind of going. Like I knew all my routines by heart, so I would just be doing them, and yeah, that's how it is.
So if you looked at SPs, so like if like when normal people look at non-SPs look at SPs, they would say, oh, they're not very focused. But no. When the SP is focused, they are the most focused of all the temperaments. Yeah. It's like when you said that there, when you were in the zone, you weren't thinking anything else. You were purely 100% in the moment. So the most focused. Yeah. But like when you're not focused, you're just waiting there for something to happen. And it's like if someone was looking at you then, you'll go, oh, restless, what is this person? I can't focus. Yeah. That's pretty much it. So it's like it's these, usually with SPs, then and Dario would say it was like an external source of stimulation, and generally that's why the artisan temperament is towards sports and doing something skillful. Yeah, where they can give it 100% of their attention. Yeah. I feel like, and that just keeps that keeps improving with age in a sense.
It's like, even though I'm not physically active, like I'm getting better at just like figuring out spatial. Anyway, yeah. So.
Oh yeah, I mean spatial for ISTP and ISFP really should be the best at spatial.
Yeah.
Spatial stuff, and that's the way the brain activity shows. So now we can show the. Now I will show the brain, what the brain areas that Dario has, and then we can get onto the bullet points. Right. There we go. All right, and then I will now share the screen. Yeah, I've not done a Model G video in a while. It the rhythm of, because there's like so much stuff to go through. Even though we're just doing one function, I have to remember all the different bits, like the TOTE model, the parts of the brain. Right, there we go.
Yeah.
So your function is in purple.
In purple.
Yeah. So like apparently like so FI. So these parts of the brain are active when these things are being done. So for instance, when somebody's placing personal value or attending to literal details, like hearing voice tone, weighing intent, this part of the brain is active, this part in purple. Now the types that have the most activity in those regions are your FPs, your MBTI FPs, and especially INFP and ISFP. They have the most activity in these regions. A type not known for their... Sorry, which type do you think has the least activity in those purple regions?
Probably my ENTJ mom.
Your ENTJ what?
My ENTJ mom.
Well, maybe a little bit, but like ESTP, like Dario showed, that the ESTP has like the opposite brain of the INFP.
Yeah.
And it goes, right, or now we know that at least Dario's version of the INFP is the same as the Socionics E.I, because the Socionics EII and SLE are opposites from each other. And yeah. But now what you might do that now you were talking before about ISF, that you thought, where you joked about INFPs being better than ISFPs, but one of the problems INFPs can have is that they will listen the best until they hear something they don't like, and then the shutters are down and they just stop listening forever.
Oh.
Once they've made their mind up about you, they stop listening. If it's a negative conclusion. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Yeah, I think I have. Yeah. One of my friends is, and I think she's an INFP, and she does that. Yeah.
Right. So has she ever done that to you? Like, how have you reopened the door?
I honestly, sometimes I don't know. Like, I don't know where we're at. Like, sometimes, but when we were living together in college, you know, she would always be like, "Are we still friends?" Or like, "Are we in a fight right now?" And I would be like, "I'm not mad at you. Like, are you mad at me?" And then we would have to talk about it and get over it, and you know. So I pissed her off a few times, but oh well. Yeah.
It's a general SP trait that where other types, especially in intuitive types, NFs especially, would be like, remember things in terms of like hurtful remarks and things, and maybe SFPs would like get over it a lot quicker. And it goes, "Oh, that was yesterday when you called me a despicable human being. That doesn't matter. Today's a new day."
Yeah, that's true. I mean, she hurt me a few times too, but that's normal. So, you know, when you live with someone, you're kind of gonna get that. So
it's like a lot of people don't believe it. It's like when they see a sport contest and like you can see like people really angry on the pitch, on the field, and then afterwards like they're happy and joking, and it's like, well, how can that be?
Yeah.
It's like, well, part of it's the effort. Right. So So yeah, we've got FI associated with also addiction, past sentences. So have you been good with words? Do you read a lot? You read a lot of fiction, that kind of things, that kind of thing.
I don't read a lot of fiction, I think, but I read a lot of maybe more nonfiction. I just like philosophy or like stuff about my faith or like just regular political type of or biographies. I like that kind of stuff. So,
ooh. And folks, hopefully Kristin will be joining us in the next hangout, which will be on the type of Trump and Hillary. We'll be doing that soon. And so it's going to be like Trump, Hillary is 90J.
What?
That's what I think it would be. The video. Trump's an ESTP. If you want to know what an ESTP is like, Donald Trump is an ESTP.
Yeah.
And then probably be a bit more discussion on Hillary's type.
What's Hillary? INTJ?
Well, I think she might be INTJ. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you see, she doesn't have a whole lot of FE. And like,
yeah.
And when she does try to use it, it comes across as a bit fake. Like when she smiles, it's not like, I mean, sometimes she'll have a genuine smile, but she hasn't really, she's still quite fake with her smile.
So could she be ENTJ?
Maybe. Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't really know about her. I just know that Trump is probably an ESTP. I'm more sure Trump's type than hers.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would think that if Hillary, anyway, we'll talk about that in the next hangout. We don't want to bury the lead, or whatever, if I'm using that correctly. So yeah, so what kind of philosophy stuff are you interested in?
I just like I more just read like quotes and stuff. It's nothing like serious. I'm just kind of like, oh, that's cool or interesting the way that that person thinks about that. But normally I'm just like watching. I'm not really reading about philosophy, I would say. I'm probably more so reading quotes and putting together pieces. And then, but I like listening to videos of other people like that are more NF or NT talking about it and what they've read, and then kind of analyzing it for me. But yeah, I don't know. I find it interesting. Like I was gonna take a philosophy class in college. And I bought the book, and then I was like, wow, this is cool, and I was reading it. But I was like, I don't think I can sit through a whole class on that. So I dropped the class. But, yeah, I find it interesting to an extent.
So, oh, right, so the sound went a little bit wonky then. So did you say you dropped the philosophy class?
Yes, I didn't even go through with it, because I was like, I don't think I can sit through this class.
Yeah, I think philosophy is something to be studied in one's own time rather than because to get it's not really a useful degree. So for instance, like Hannah has like got a master's degree in philosophy, but now she's doing nursing, and she feels that she finds that more fulfilling. So that would be a good hangout with you and Hannah because they've both got an interest. Like, she studied theology, but from somebody who is not religious, but she was like interested in that aspect. So, and she has been typed as E.S.I. Now, I think the next one was... Right, so now we can get to the bullet points of ISFP. And this is where it might or might not go a little bit strange, because I don't really know about ISFPs. We will find out if Victor's profile is crazy or not crazy. Whether it is gold. What we got here? Is that the FI? Could be FI. Let's have a look. Now you can see I've clicked on it because it's highlighted in blue. It's just going to take a while for it to change because it's It'll come. Come on, my son. Come on. Come on. Come on. Try and coax it. Are you going to try and coax it, Kristin? Try and get it to change. Here it is. Right. Now. Right, now I'll zoom in. Well, you match. Right, I'll just zoom out a little bit. So yeah, we're on that left box.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see that okay?
Yep.
Right, I'll make it a little bit bigger for others, and so people don't get distracted by reading E.S.I Plus, because that's for the next hangout, folks. So I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. We'll do that in the next hangout. Where's my mouse gone? Oh, there it is. I'll zoom in a little bit. Ah, there we go. So, what about this number 1? Recognizes well the ill wishers, distinctly divides people into insiders and outsiders. So are you a pretty judgmental person now, Kristin? I suppose that's what it means.
Yeah, I mean, that's me, I guess. I feel like whenever I'm in a group setting, I can tell who's on the outside and who's on the inside, and, you know.
Oh, I remember Jack Aaron, who, ironically, he's an ENTP, and he's not very good at FI by his own admission, but I think he gives an excellent, I think he gives a fantastic definition of FI, where he thinks that, like, your FI DOM, so FISX, ISFP, and FINX, INFP, they know pretty much how they feel about everyone and everything.
That's funny.
Is that fair to say?
I think so, yeah. It's like unfortunate sometimes because you're like, man, I just want to be nice to everybody, but you're so picky about like people. So, yeah.
Whereas he told the story that he was asked by his mother, do you like that girl? And Jack said, I don't know. She's pretty. But then he said he didn't know how he felt.
Okay.
So it's like, so it's like the total opposite.
Yeah, I would never ever feel that way. I always know if I like somebody. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Cool.
I like that. It makes sense. It like makes sense to like what I'm going through sometimes.
Right, so you can see the poor predicament that ESTPs and ENTPs can be in, where they don't really, I don't know how it is to get into their brains sometimes. And that is like why they can be so insensitive. And sometimes they can be, my father is overly, I shouldn't say this, but anyway, they can be either overly suspicious or overly assume, or overly, it's almost like they either think everyone's their enemy or everyone's their friend. So they can be like overly trusting or overly suspicious.
Yeah.
Whereas you probably think that you're very attuned to each person, like you're judging them.
Yep.
How you know how you feel about everyone, and it maybe does it change as well? It may be even dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, what I was gonna say on the first part is like my sister. I'm pretty sure she's ENTJ and or INT or one of the NTJs, and she really doesn't really have that like barrier where she can like discern people. Like she hangs out with these people, and I'm like, what? Why would you do that? Like that person is like a mess, and like they're like really toxic or something, and like and I've just kind of judged them. But she doesn't even have that. She just like accepts everyone and accepts things, and just she's not judgmental like that. But I like have a very like strict thing that I but yeah, what was the second thing you said?
It is nothing to be ashamed of. I'm quite judgmental myself. I've worked on my role function. So advice to INTPs, work on being judgmental.
Nice. Yeah, and then you ask if it changes, and it totally does, but it almost takes somebody else explaining to me why not to be so judgmental or why to see something from a different perspective. So it takes like other people of different types to explain that to me, because I just don't get it sometimes, because I'm so focused on the way that I think and stuff.
That's what that might come to the break function in the because the break function in ISTPs and ISFPs. So
Yeah.
TISX and FISX is NE, and maybe they get locked into seeing something from one point of view. Is that what you think it can be?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Whereas generally, I think the NEC can see things from different points of view.
Mm-hmm.
And so, are you sometimes annoyed by, say, ENTPs that will go, well, if you look at it like this, or like this, and like this, and like this?
I've never, well, I don't get annoyed by that. I really enjoy that because it helps me. But, you know, I usually stick to my convictions, but if somebody, like, is genuinely concerned about me, or I believe that they care for me, then I'm like, okay, I trust your opinion. Like, I think I'll try to see it your way a little bit. So, yeah. I like that. I think that's great.
Right. I'll just go off this for a moment. I'll ask you a question about what one ENTP does that I was talking to. And so I did a hangout where I was talking to Carlton Kremerate, I think his name was, and I was asking him about the ENTP thing where they want to see a reaction when I tell you this story. And the ENTP will, when they talk to someone, they can pretend to hold a view that they don't actually hold. So it might be like a controversial point of view, just to see what the other person's reaction is.
Yeah.
To that point of view. So how do you feel about that if an ENTP did that to you?
Well, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of ways to think about that.
I mean, say they knew that they were talking to you, they were going, oh, if I pretend to have this point of view, that might really annoy her. Let's see if I can annoy her. That sort of thing, like, let's see what the reaction would be. So that's sort of trolling, that real life trolling.
Honestly, like, I haven't experienced that much. I haven't experienced that much of that in life. I feel like because most of the time people see that I'm nice and they just don't want to mess with me like that. But if they do that, you know, it really bothers me, I guess. But at the same time, like, I like people that can test the waters and, like, test others. And I love that people can poke buttons and figure out, like, what's going on with someone else and their opinions. I love that. I love it.
Maybe it's
so, and I don't really have that quality. So.
Might be the
what?
They might be more scared of they can be weird, ENTPs.
Yeah. I don't know if I know ENTPs, to be honest. I mean, I do, but I don't know.
I mean, like, if you want to know what they look like, Boris Johnson, the former mayor of London, with, like, his hair all over the place, probably an ENTP. Right? They dress funny.
Yeah.
To cut it short, the ENTPs dress funny. Just like ENFPs dress funny as well. They're the number one type to have green hair, coloured hair. God. ENFP.
Yeah. That's cool. I don't know.
I don't know if you've ever encountered any ENFPs.
I probably have. I'm just trying to look for a picture of Mayor Horace Johnson.
Yeah, Boris Johnson is like, his hair is all over the place.
Yeah. Yep. Is he like an old guy?
He looks. Yeah, probably now. He looks like he needs somebody to take care of him.
Okay.
Because that's what ENTP is like.
Yeah. No, I mean, okay.
It's like there's that combination of it's like inside them is like an intelligent young child in a grown man's body.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Is the impression that you get from them.
Yeah.
So we got here. So how about this one, number 2? Gives firm evaluation of the morality of actions by those people he deals with or she deals with. So come on, Kristin, how judgmental are you? in this
Oh my God.
respect.
I am so judgmental. But yeah, I mean, yeah. I think every decision I make has to do with morality.
Yeah.
I don't know how to talk about it myself because it's like what I am. But like I know my sisters commented on it. Like every decision I'm gonna make is probably like about morals and stuff. And a lot of times that pisses people off because it's like, you know, stop thinking about the morals. But yeah, I mean,
and at first glance, that is against the overall like artisan temperament, because people will think, oh, artisans are happy-go-lucky, do anything. But this sort of does show how like the Jungian function of FI is like more important sometimes than your Kersey temperament.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I feel like this is more like close in to the ISFP, and like Kersey is more of a big picture. It's like what I would be like on an everyday normal, but this kind of is like really specific. But yeah, I mean, I'm really judgmental. Like it's just like I feel like it's like to a flaw or whatever that saying is. Like it's
to a fault. Yeah.
To a fault. It's just not healthy sometimes because I'm just I don't really give people room to like grow or to make mistakes. It's kind of like very like, you know, if you're doing something wrong, I'm gonna either tell you or unfriend you or whatever. So yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean it's with FI. I think it's that kind of function that it's like you don't want too little of it. Hello, ESTP or ENTP, but it's I think when it comes to FI.
You just broke up like the last sentence. What did you say?
Yeah, I was just saying that I think FI is a sort of function that you it's like the Goldilocks thing where you need just the right amount. You don't want too much.
Yeah.
You don't want too little.
That's a good point.
If you have too much, it's like overly judgmental, and if you have too little, you're an ENTP or an ESTP.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
I agree.
And then I think number 3 is about controls the distance in communication. Oh yeah, and stays in distance from bad people. So as you were saying there about unfriending, maybe you'd be able to give some examples of that. Controls the distance.
Which friend?
Point number 3.
Oh no! I was asking what you said something about my friend, but
I think you said you've unfriended people.
Oh yeah, like not really like on Facebook or like in real life, but kind of just more like mentally. Like I'll just like kind of mentally like cancel them out from my life until they kind of get themselves like under control, which is like really bad. I shouldn't admit that at all, but I just did. But I mean, I definitely try to stay at a safe distance from bad people. Oh yeah, so much. It's like almost bad because I'm kind of like alienating myself from society in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's true.
So there's a lot of I mean you can see how a lot of people type drive. Like heard you talk about values and stuff, they might think SJ, bye bye. They might just think something like that, like if they're doing a drive-by typo. Whereas if they like look at all of the details, all of the nuances, then they can sort of see how yes, an SP can have values too.
Yep.
Can have morality too.
Yeah. Because
usually it's the SJs who are preoccupied with morality. But how do you think you are? Because you probably know some SJs.
Yeah.
How do you think they differ from you in the area of morality and ethics?
I don't know. It's it's a lot different. Like the way that they think about it and the way I think about it is just so different. I feel like I don't know how many I know in real life. Like I just don't know. I don't know many. I don't know who is who. I have a hard time typing people. But like I think I have like an ESTJ friend, and she's like really like, you know, she doesn't even judge people on like their ethics. Like she just doesn't. She judges people on if they are like politically correct almost. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
So like the norms of her like subculture, I suppose, like what people are supposed to think.
Yeah,
that's not the done thing, the accepted thing. What is appropriate, socially appropriate, I suppose.
Yeah, I would say so. And if somebody doesn't, what?
Yeah, go on.
I was just saying, if someone like doesn't agree with her, she'll like kind of battle them, like talk to them about it and stuff. And yeah, and to me, that's like not even anything to do with like a decision I would make. I just don't even think the way she does. But I'm trying to think of other SJs I know. I know like an ISFJ or an ESFJ, and they're just like the sweetest people. I don't know how to explain it. They just are. They want to take care of you so much. So I don't know. They want to take care of you, and they want you to be happy, and they want you to like, you know, be understood and cared for. I don't know. It's just different.
Oh, well, you said that. I mean, you know, you said there that you mentally, in the you know, that list where you mentally unfriend them. Like number 4, practices wordless condemnation of those who are guilty and expresses it through his tone and look in order to affect their conscience.
Oh, no. Yeah, it's bad. Yeah, I feel like people can genuinely tell when I am like being judgy, and my face expresses everything. It doesn't. I don't need to say anything.
Now, I actually heard from Madupe, who's her parents are from Nigeria. She's I was about to say she's a female ENTJ, but the she gives it away. She's an ENTJ, and she said she likes that about ISFP. She doesn't what it's going on inside the ISFP, because they will tell you exactly how they feel.
Your whole sound is away.
Okay, how about now?
Yeah, start over.
Yeah, okay. Madupe, her parents are from Nigeria. She's an ENTJ. She says she likes the fact that she doesn't have to play any guessing games with ISFPs, and that they will tell her exactly how they feel.
Yep, that's true.
And so the communication is always clear between ENTJs and ISFPs.
Yeah, definitely.
Very straight with each other.
Yeah, definitely. It's, very honest, very like about certain things. Yeah, that's good. Cool.
So what's this one, number 5? I didn't quite get this. Rejects long-lasting relationships without return of affection.
Rejects long.
Oh, right.
Relationships.
Oh, I see. Oh, right. This is actually something that matches the Kersey point. The ISFP will leave a marriage if they think that they're not being loved, that they will leave that long-lasting relationship, whereas ISFJ might stay in it longer, even if they do feel it's a loveless marriage.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because I can imagine SJ is wanting to stay in a loveless marriage. Like, even though if they take vows.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean...
How would you feel about that? I mean, if you took a marriage vow?
Yeah, I feel like an SJ would be more like yeah, they'd be more like prone to just kind of keeping it going. They would want it to happen more. But like for me, I feel like I'm usually the one who's like, okay, this isn't working. Bye. Yeah.
How would you feel in that situation though, if you'd like taken a vow, but then said, well, hang on a minute, I want to end this relationship, but it means breaking this vow? Would you feel a bit torn in that situation?
Well, it depends on what the vow is. If it's a vow of marriage, well, then yeah, I would never break that because, that goes back to my faith beliefs. But it's just like dating or, or if it's like an engagement and it's like not the right one, then I would break that. But
that's what I was thinking. Like if it was a vow of marriage.
Okay.
So,
I believe more. Yeah, I would break it if it ended up not being what it should be. Like I believe kind of that everything is supposed to happen a certain way almost, and like if you don't, I feel like your eyes should be open because there's.
It was like this they're not keeping up to what they vowed. They're not keeping up their side of the bargain of the spiritual compact. I did not marry the person that they turned into. Yeah,
exactly. I would break the vow if it was just like an engagement or like a verbal commitment. But if we were already married or something, then there's no chance. But yeah. I don't know if that helps. I had a friend who was engaged and I didn't think they were a good match. And I think they broke it off. But I never told her anything. But I was like, you guys should totally break up because you're not good for each other. But I never said anything. But they ended up breaking up anyway. And I was really happy that they did because I didn't think they were good for each other.
I was sort of like, but then things had gone badly. How would you feel there? Or would you want to get yourself in? Would you want to take different vows so you never put yourself in that position?
Can you say it again? You broke up again.
I was just saying that. Would you want to take different vows for a marriage so that you wouldn't have to put yourself in a position of having to break them?
I don't really understand the question.
Okay, well, what I mean is like if you make a vow that you promise to stay with someone,
yeah,
right? You sort of like you put yourself in a corner like that, and then if the person changes, would you like feel like, okay, I have to stay with this person, even if you then like grow to hate them?
Oh, well, yeah, and if I'm married to them and that's my situation, like. I hope that would never be my situation, but I would probably stick with it because you're in a marriage.
Yeah.
But if it is just a relationship, then I would be fine breaking up and it would be over. I would be like, nope, this isn't working.
Right. So yeah, I'm sorry for the slightly naughty question there, but I was like trying to get to like the practicalities of marriage vows.
I don't mind at all.
Right. Because here we go. Because it does give an example though of how faith can affect how someone's personality is expressed.
Yeah, very true.
Because generally, the more faithful someone is, or the more faith someone has, the more SJ-ish they will appear.
That's true. Yep.
Right. Here we go. Number 6. Will tolerate playing fast and loose only to a certain point, after which he will end forever. Ooh. I'm not sure.
Your sound is just breaking up.
Oh man, what do you think that last one means?
Yeah, number 6. That one's an interesting one. Yeah, that one's sad. I don't know. I don't like that one, but it's probably true.
Right, I think. Right, I now show. There was a bit I didn't show before about region, about FI. What have we got here? Oh, here it is. Yeah, so whenever my sound gets slightly dodgy, please let me know.
Okay.
So these are the FI areas. There you go. Right enough. Yeah, so generally the FPs are good with words. And
Yeah.
do you have an interest in music and a good ear for music, things like that?
Yeah, I have this ability to just be on pitch or whatever when I sing and stuff. But and like songs, I can remember, like I know the melodies of like songs instantly.
Do you want to do a little bit of singing now? Just a little bit?
No.
Okay.
But like, yeah, I can hear a song on the radio, and I don't remember the words, but I remember the exact like thing, like how it went. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't want you to sing too much in tune because Google might report the video.
That's funny.
Right, so belief, grounded believer, evaluate people and activities in terms of like or dislike, recall details, high. So those things sound FI-ish. And do you think those match FI, the areas?
Grounded believer one?
Mm.
Wait, what? So
I think
F8
it matches. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I'll remember certain things of what someone did in a situation, and they will literally be like, "How do you remember that?" And I'll be like, "I don't know. I just do. Like certain things people do, I just remember."
Oh yeah, very good memory. Like so I would say for ISFP. Oh yeah, so do you think you're very good with picking up things from tone of voice and things like that? Yeah. So T4.
Yeah, for the most part, I guess, kind of. I think I'm generally wrong though. Like I try to infer something and then it's like not really true or something. But yeah, I would say I'm generally good at it for certain purposes.
Yeah, and I think we'll talk about this in the next one. But I think you're pretty good at these things in green. That you, because you've got good visual imagination, I suppose.
Yeah, I love that stuff. Wow. That's kind of who I wish I was. Like, I wish I was an architect or something. But,
I think that is, we've got, there is, oh yeah, now there's a little bit on, right, then there's a little bit, here we go. This is how Dario defines the functions. So we've got FI and FE. I'll put it up there with. Can you see that okay?
Yep.
So I'll read it out for FI. Staying true to who you really are. Pay close attention to your personal identity, values, and beliefs. Check with your conscience before you act. Choose behavior congruent with what is important to you. Oh yeah, I got a little question for you. If you had a religious belief that was different from, say, do you call it your pastor? What would you call the person that teaches you in the church?
Yeah, pastor.
So if your feeling differs from theirs, are you more likely to stick with your own than to listen to the pastor?
Yeah. A lot of times I get really upset because certain things that pastors have said bother me, and I just don't agree with them, and I kind of just check them off as like a bad pastor.
Right. So I think that would be a good example of FI, where you're going with what you feel against someone who SJs would say, hang on a minute, they know more than you. They have all this experience. And you're going, no, no, no. It's what I feel. It's what I know to be.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, totally. Sometimes I do end up listening to them too because I understand that they're a pastor and they are smart. But like, not at first, it really bothers me or hurts my feelings. But then I come around or something, and I'm like, okay, maybe there's some validity to that. So.
Do you want to give us any examples of the things that have irked you or annoyed you that they've said?
Trying to think. I mean, I'd rather not, just because it's just like not. I just don't want to talk bad about any of them, but I'm just like.
Oh yeah, sorry, they might be watching. Sorry about that.
Oh no! I think it's important to build up the body of Christ, not, cut them down. But yeah, no, just certain things. Like if I was living my life a certain way, and then either what they said might have either gone against what how I'm living my life, or it was either condemning me or convicting me. So it either made me feel like I was a bad person or less than because I was living my life a certain way, or it was just God saying like, yo, like you got to change it up a little bit or something. So, but.
So is that a battle of the judges? So they were judging you, and you're thinking, hang on a minute, I do the judging around here.
Yeah.
Right, so we got again, Dario said he learned, these were his findings from his sort of like his research, that the bit that struck me was that bit hard to embarrass. And then Jeff was saying, but different things embarrass them. But I can understand why, because it's like, if it's, why should I be embarrassed if it's what I believe? Whereas in different situations, so for instance, if you compare like ISFJ and ISFP, in one situation, one might be more embarrassed than another, and then in a different situation, it might be the other way around.
Yeah.
So
I would say, yeah. I mean, yeah, things that embarrass me, other people just would not even think of that. And, I've experienced that so many times. I'm like so embarrassed, or I'm so like, I'm like almost shaming myself. And then somebody else is like, hey, no, that's cool. Like, awesome. So, yeah.
So what embarrasses you?
Wow, that's a big question. I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Probably like when I more indulge in my life. Like if I like veg out and just like sit around and don't do anything, I get embarrassed because I'm like, wow, I'm supposed to be out in the world, like doing things and whatever. I don't know. And then someone else is like, no, I would totally be doing that too. And that's a bad example, but just kind of.
So it's like when you feel you failed yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's probably like 100% of the time. It's always when I feel like I failed myself. Yeah.
Right. What do you think would embarrass ISFJs by comparison?
I don't know. I don't know internally what's going on when they get embarrassed. But like from experience with ISFJs, I think I've seen they get embarrassed my one friend, she gets embarrassed when people call her out for being a little bit weird or a little bit different or getting lost or when she had to speak up in a group, she like started crying because like she like felt so, for some reason she felt so embarrassed. Or well, no, she felt more embarrassed because she was asking the waiter for like a coffee, and like she felt like she annoyed somebody, or she was like in the wrong, like in the way that she asked the waiter. I don't know what was going on, but she just started crying because she was like asking for coffee, and then she had to like speak, and like she just like she started crying, and I was like, hey, it's okay, like was wrong? But she seemed embarrassed, like what was going on, and I was like, I don't understand, I don't know why that happened, but it's just a situation that I experienced with her.
So do you think it might be for you that it would be? Do you think it might be for you? It might be more internal, because it's like you've not lived up to yourself, whereas for her it's like social things, societal things, and what other people think of her.
Yeah, I mean, great. Yeah, no, I think it's both, though. I think it's a mix. I feel like her is very internal as well. I don't, because she wouldn't express it, but there was a lot going on in her. Yeah, so.
Yeah, because in Model G, ISFJ is SIFI, and you're FISI, so it's like you're just like a mirror image of each other.
Yeah.
In the about, again, very hard to know what's going on inside someone's head.
Yeah.
And I suppose there's a combination of the two, that it is internal, external when it's embarrassment.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and I feel like ISFJs, they have this thing that they want to be a certain way, and it's like once they go over that threshold of like the kind of person they want to be, like, and the values and whatever, the social values, and they kind of get really angry, or like whatever emotion is causing them to like act out. I feel like that's when they get really embarrassed, when they kind of just screw up, like somehow, how they want to live their life.
So how? We can get a little bit silly now, but it's still truthful. How? Under what situations would an ENTP or an ESTP feel embarrassed?
Oh.
Do you think they feel embarrassment not much? Do you think they should feel embarrassment more? I do.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I haven't had enough, but maybe for ESTP,
So it goes back to FI again, that FI is, so it's like not just judging other people, but judging yourself with the FI.
Yeah.
And ENTPs and ESTPs, they don't judge themselves and they don't judge other people.
Duh.
Maybe that's the thing.
I think for me, I mean, what I was gonna say is, like, I think my friend's an ESTP, and she gets really embarrassed if she's not like competent in something, and
yes,
really what
her self-image,
her self-image, her success, her progress, everything. She just kind of
Yes, I suppose in an FE kind of way. Hey, this is making me look bad, or this is against my self-image.
And for me, that would never even cross my mind ever. So yeah.
Right. So we got here. Yeah, so we've got this here, and this final part we've got, and then what? Then after that, I can talk about like how you might use FI with TE, and I'm going to very carefully quote from Dario's book without really quoting, because I still want people to buy the book, the 8 Keys to Self-Leadership. But he gives a good example of how FI can be used with TE. So they've got this here again. Evaluate importance along a spectrum from love-like to dislike and hate. So it's that thing we talked about before, of like really knowing how you feel about everyone and everything.
Yep.
And then good at listening to others, whole brain. Attentive and curious for what is not said. Focus on word choice and voice tone.
Yeah.
And then we talked about embarrassment.
Also how that matches body language, I feel like. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, very visual. Oh, how about this? Can respond strongly to specific high-value words.
I don't know. I don't know what that means. Do you know what that means?
Yeah. I mean, certain words can like trigger people off.
Oh.
I suppose FPs can get more triggered than other types.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that a little bit. Yeah.
And then, as you said before, may not utilize feedback when you're saying that sometimes it people when it clashes with what you feel at the time. But then you're healthy enough that you will listen to other people eventually. I think that's what you said. I can't remember.
Yeah. At the time, I might be a little more like holding a grudge or something, but then eventually I might come to see it their way, or at least have like more compassion towards their way of thinking. So.
Oh, we've got 3 viewers at the moment, and so now this is a fun diagram on the 7 different types of intelligence. So we've got linguistic, logico-mathematical, NT stuff, visuospatial. So you're probably, let's see the ones that you're good at. So we can go through. So do you think you're quite good at the linguistic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Genuinely, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, how are you with the logical mathematical?
Not good at all.
Okay. How about it is a good one. Visuospatial.
I'm okay. Not great.
Bodily kinesthetic.
Yeah, this is my forte.
Yeah, you're 10 out of 10 on that probably.
Yep, 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Musical.
No, I wouldn't say I'm good at that. No.
And like this cartoon character, when you sing, do you close your eyes?
I love that. That's awesome. He's into it.
And then we've got like, I think these functions. I think like interpersonal, FE.
Yes.
Intrapersonal.
That's
FI.
me. Honestly, I love that stuff. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So FI, make authentic choices, reflection, connect to self. I'm not seeing many ENTPs and ESTPs doing that with the intrapersonal.
Yeah, probably not.
Not so much. I mean, that's like super duper INFP though.
Yeah, that is very much so.
And then I see naturalists as like just like left-wing propaganda. Let's just put this in. I mean, a right-wing person could just put in, okay, let's put money intelligence in or something, like good with money.
Yeah.
Because I don't see naturalists as like, I don't see that as a function. It's important, but I don't see that as a kind of intelligence.
I mean, I know some people that would be 10 out of 10 there, so maybe it is, maybe it's not.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that with maybe it's like a version of SI. I mean, because like there are some people that are outdoorsy in an SI way, not for wrestling bears in an SE way, where it's all competition. And so, yeah, so we did that. Now I can talk about the Dario for the climax of the video. The climax is talking about something from this book without actually reading it all out completely so that Dario doesn't get annoyed.
Okay.
Dario likes to sell books. People have
Yes.
probably that by now. He likes to sell books. He publishes his own books. He has his own publishing house. So the trick is to tell you about this without reading it out. Right. Okay, so things you can use, and Linda Barron's thought that you can use TE with FI. And so, so it might be, so you might have this case of, you might have these various things that you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll think, okay, and Dario's saying that, well, you can use FI with TE by saying, okay, what is the most important thing? What is the most important thing to me? And I will do that thing first. And you'll be able to like put things in order by how important you feel they are. Yeah. So that would be an example of FI with TE, that bit. You know, just in case there's not enough time in the day to do everything you want, you're going to choose what's most important, and you're using the FI in order to determine what's most important.
Yeah.
And then there's something about if you've not got enough evidence for something, because he sees TE as sort of like measuring things and getting evidence. And he says if you've not got enough evidence for something, sometimes you've got to go with your gut feeling as to what you believe is right, when you've not necessarily got the evidence of what works.
That makes sense.
Right, and then also an idea that if you're motivated, that you might have, that you'll know that you'll be able to follow a procedure through to its completion, because you know it's something that you really want to do. So it's like the FI is like the motivation, and then you'll be able to get it done.
Yeah.
You might try to organize a workflow that honors each individual.
No.
Not quite sure what that means, but without actually reading it all out. And then he's got another version of it. Is that an example of you can structure your life to stay with what you think is ethically important. So, for instance, you might make some choices based around your church activities, where it's like, well, I'm doing this thing first, I'm doing this church thing first, and then other things go second. So the practical considerations go in second to this faith thing. Or it says, or you might decide not to purchase something.
Yeah, definitely. That makes sense.
Or you might look at you might look at measurements to like support a belief that you have. Like you can say, hey, I don't just know it's true. I've checked it out. I've measured it. I've done some research to back up.
That definitely, that makes sense.
Have you got any examples of that?
Huh?
Have you got any examples of that?
I mean, like if I have a question, I'll research it a lot and then be like, okay, you know, I have an answer, or like, I don't even know, just anything, like, you know, even like, you know, WebMD or something that I'm going through, it might be like, oh, okay, I'm making myself, oh, I have this sickness, but it's like, no, it probably don't, but I'm just trying to like find evidence to support my belief pretty much, so.
Ah, right. Now the danger of that is that you can pick evidence to fit beliefs.
Yeah.
That you might cherry pick data.
Yeah. That's when I go to my mom and I'm like, Mom, I figured this out. And she's like, no. She helps me out. So anyway, yeah.
And it also might be another example of how they work together is that FI will you'll know what's important, what your motivations are, and then the TE part might be time management and how to physically implement those things that you want. So it's like,
and I hate that. I cannot do that for my life, to be honest. Like when I was in college, it was like the hardest thing to do. Like that was, no, I could not do that. So
right. So I think we've covered it. Is there anything else you would like to? Did we do all the bullet points? We did number 6. And you said, I don't quite like that one, Ben. Is that correct? That was your reactions. Oh yes, I remember now. So we've done the first function.
Yeah.
We've done the out of it.
That's fun.
Your first solo video with me, and it went okay. Right. So I'll have a little private chat with Kristin afterwards, folks. So it's goodbye from me.
Bye, everyone.
Right. Right.